Queen 8 offsuit, I would toss. So now we're a little bit more marginal. We're only 20 blinds deep to start the hand. Queen 8 off doesn't play too well post-flop. So my inclination in the spot is just to toss it. When villain checks it, I would bet. He's never trapped us in spots like this. He's never suddenly check-raised us once he's given up the betting lead. So Queen High does have some showdown value, which makes checking back kind of reasonable. My preference would be to toss out a small bet of a bit over a third pot, looking to just take down the decent amount in the center immediately. And I would bet here as well. It just looks too weak at this point in the hand. 6-2 soft I toss, I wouldn't bother open limping with the plan of limp stabbing. Toss the 10-3 suited. 10-5 off, of course, we're going to fold. And the last two times the small blind has walked us, so that might be some of the meta benefits coming into play, that he's seen that we're always looking to give him trouble when he open raises the small blind, which tightens his open raising range in the small blind, and therefore gives us more walks. 6-10, a toss, as well as the 10-deuce offsuit. A few more clear folds. Here he elects to 3-bet bluff with the 8-5 offsuit. It's for a substantial portion of our stack, and this player looks fairly loose and spewy. For instance, in the hand where we flop the top trips, he did call the flop raise seemingly without much reason, so I wouldn't get involved in this situation. But the play does work out. He checks. This is a spot that PZ Han calls auto theft, when the small blind open limps and checks the flop, because they fold so much in spots like this, and that does coincide with their read of him. So even though we're obviously not representing too much once we check pre-flop on this flop, I would just go ahead and bet 165 or so, and he should fold enough for us to show a profit. Same here, clear bet. And a nice bet there. I would just toss the pocket fours. We're not getting the odds to send mine. We're getting about 12-1. We're out of position. The big blind can still 3-bet. And a ton of the time, we're just going to have a low pair without a set, without much prospects of improving, out of position with him having the betting lead. And here he likes to check raise. Gets 3-bet shoved on. He's going to have to fold. But I would just fold pre rather than get involved in that spot to begin with. Ace 3 suited, so let's go ahead and pull this one up in Sin and Go Wizard. So the question we've got to ask is, what's his opening range and what's his calling range? So for an opening range, he definitely seems to be playing quite a few hands. Let's give him a range of, say, top 35%, which most likely hands like King 5 or King 6 offsuit he might not be playing, but he might be playing more of these speculative semi-bluff type hands like 10-9 suited. And when we shove on him, we don't expect him to be super tight facing a shove, but he's probably not going to call too much more than, say, top 13 or 14%. So that has this as an equity loss. And given that we're correct, hypothetically, on our opening range, we would need him to be quite a bit tighter. So even 8%, this isn't going to be enough. So the kind of gap that we'd want would be him only calling 7%, but opening closer to 40%. So we need pretty generous assumptions, and we most likely want this guy to have a very high button open raise percent for this to be a profitable 3-bet shove.